Hey guys, I'm here with you as always, Deni. I'm sure each and every one of you wants to build some kind of base. There's something so masculine about us that makes us want to pick up a hammer and hammer a nail into a wall somewhere. You want to build a house, and there is no better place to quench this thirst than a good sandbox. A play sandbox, of course. And today, I'm going to show you some new and really cool sandboxes that have come out recently. Click on the like, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's go. Do you miss adrenaline and dynamic gameplay? The perfect place to get it all? Good old Crossout. Tense battles, dozens of different vehicles, and hundreds of parts for their customization are waiting for you. You can make a powerful, bulletproof tank and destroy your enemies just by the look of it. Or make something smaller, but fast, and get in the back of unsuspecting enemies. In any case, Crossout is the best place to show everyone who is a real pro. Download the game at the link in the description. I suggest to start with something unusual, especially in terms of graphics. In front of you is Mars' first logistics physics simulator with open world. You and I are on the surface of Mars, and we will be engaged in creating our own rovers and logistics to earn money and build a whole space colony here. We will collect Mars rovers from a huge number of parts, which, by the way, will be unlocked over time. There is a story part of the game. It is not so big, 8-10 hours approximately, but the sandbox potential is really not bad. If to compare with other games to understand more what it is Death Stranding only on Mars with sandbox elements, because we create our own rovers, and also with co-op, because yes, it is here. All in all, as it looks interesting to me. If you watch all my videos, you must be aware that we have a marine analog of the game Rust. Only without the other hostile players. This is a survival game in the style of the water world, with a huge set of crafting, such as modular base building, crafting all sorts of things, and even search for flooded cities. Naturally, to fight here will also be with whom from various NPCs and clans living peacefully on their territory, to raids already on our base. That's why you should also think about the defense of your base. Visually, the game really has some failures, in the sense that the graphics of the year so 2012, but it does not prevent the game to be interesting and pass its atmosphere. Well, and plus, the spirit of adventure also encourages you to explore everything and anything that is here. Plus, again, there is co-op, which is a huge plus. Naturally, it's impossible not to mention here a new game from the Dynasty universe. This time, unlike medieval Dynasty, we get to the times of feudal Japan. The Sengoku period, we are an ordinary worker who wants to live a peaceful life for the benefit of his village. But this village doesn't exist yet, and that's where the game begins. Our main quest is to establish a Japanese village filled with the atmosphere and beauty of Japan. The game is cool, not counting, of course, that the game is medium optimized, and perhaps your computer is so heated up that it can and steam as in the bath, but it's a small thing. You are waiting for a lot of crafting, taking care of the inhabitants of your village, exploring the open world, and protecting your settlement from various dangers and raids of neighbors. In general, a beautiful medieval world. And here is a joy for automation lovers. I'm sure that many of you like to customize all these convoys that something crawled somewhere and so on. Well, forget it, there are no conveyors here. In this strategy sandbox, you will only have robots, and you can customize them as you wish. If you want, customize the robots to collect certain resources, others to carry one material to the points you need. Third, in general, on the defense of your base, because first of all, you are on a planet unfamiliar to you, and secondly, on this planet, there is a fauna, which is not particularly happy that on its territory appeared some robots. If automation is not for you, and you would like more standard RPG sandboxes, then there is something unusual for you. This is the Matchless KungFu, a game where you get into a huge open world as a Kung Fu master, and this world is very similar to the Chinese analog of Kenshi. In general, the plan is the same as in Kenshi. We create a character and get into an unpleasant world that lives its own life. Explore it. It is, by the way, very funny. For example, there are beggars, which periodically you get an ask for change, and you'd better have it. There are a lot of sandbox elements. Build up your base and make it unique is not difficult at all, which is also a definite plus of the game. In general, the thing is unusual. Forever Skies is also a very unusual game, at least because you fly in the air on your airship. So far, it's still a single-player game in a world where this very world has come to an end. I remind you that the developers promised that soon they will add the possibility to play in co-op, because this game, this possibility is simply necessary. Airship on which you fly, in fact, your home, and you can build it up as you see fit. There are a lot of different upgrades and improvements. The main thing is that it flees, because otherwise, you will have to go down to the ground in search of resources, and to find there something adequate in these slums, difficult. On gameplay, it is short. I think they will contend for 15 to 20 hours at most, but this is enough to enjoy the game. And this extremely unusual Techtonica, which personally to me reminds me of Deep Rock Galactic, crossed just with the games with convoys, because you will be just the construction of convoys and will be engaged. And what is pleasant, you will do it in co-op. The game itself is a sandbox about building underground factories on some alien planet. At the same time, with a first-person view, which adds dynamics to the game and will save you from boredom. Your main quest, together with your friends and create a high-tech base, crawl somewhere deep into the planet, build up there all the different units, and pull a lot of resources from the planet for processing. All this with a lot of automation, a beautiful world in the background, with a lot of bumping and extremely atmospheric sound design in the background. Engineering sandboxes are clearly not gonna let us go today, so if you like that kind of thing, you should definitely try to play in your neighbor's world with your friends. This is essentially a brand new sandbox game in a familiar universe with an evil neighbor who is also trying to catch you. To exclude such a variant of events, your quest to build a racing car from what you can find and break free. Belides will have to build completely different, because to get out of the park in which we are stuck, we have to pass a huge number of traps and tests. So take a hammer and screwdriver and go ahead to prove to your neighbor that he is a sucker and cannot stop you. In a cooperative for 4 people, to do it naturally even more fun, especially since you can build not 4 different cars, but 1, where each crew member controls a specific unit in the car. Well, there they steer, the other pedals and so on. It's even more fun that way. Let's return to the expanses of the Red Planet as it was at the beginning of our today's adventure in the world of sandboxes. It's logical. Sand Mars, sandboxes, you know. In general, here our quest is exactly the same as everywhere else to prove that Mars is a habitable planet which should be planted with all sorts of vegetation and convince other people that you can live here. But to do that, we've got a lot of work to do. Build a base, transportation means, so that not to walk, to extract oxygen, and find water at the end of the day. In general, you have a lot to do here. As you understand, the game itself is a bit hardcore and reminds me personally a little bit farming simulator, but only the space version of it. Overall, not bad. And this is an incredibly atmospheric game, which you just need to play if you liked or like the game Terraria. It's a similar adventure, but with an overhead view instead of a side view. Plus, all the action takes place not somewhere in the depths of a random planet, but in the air, on various flying ships. In fact, this is the first steampunk sandbox game with open world and vertical shooter gameplay, because in addition to pumping and improving your ship, there is a lot of shooting waiting for you. This is undoubtedly a plus of this game, because it is also surprisingly dynamic. If anything, we play not for a nameless character, but for the girl Eve, and help her in her wanderings, fighting both on land and in the air, right here on flying ships. The game is very addictive and overflowing with the spirit of adventure, so you do not have to mine resources just to be. Everything makes sense, and here it is, even plot. All in all, a great thing. Above Snakes is a sandbox game in the truest sense of the word, and sandbox here is not only that you create objects, but also that you create pieces of the world on which you live. It consists of landscape squares, and only you decide how and which of the squares to place. At the same time, this is not just an ordinary, peaceful game, and far from a farmer's simulator. You can accidentally or intentionally place a square with some graveyard with skeletons or a crypt, which you will explore. At the same time, the number of these squares is really not small, as well as the number of items for crafting and building your base wherever you want. And so, do what you want. It looks good. I hope you found something cool for yourself today, and therefore clicked on the like and subscribe too. Well, and with you was as always Deni, and all the best.